Welcome to our channel. Imagine a river so powerful it created pyramids, pharaohs, and mummies. Yeah, welcome to ancient Egypt. Before Google Maps, before electricity, and long before your favorite takeout app, people had a simple rule for where to live: stay close to the rivers. Why? Well, it's pretty straightforward. Rivers meant water to drink, fertile land for farming, and a natural highway for trade and travel. In short, rivers meant life itself. This simple fact is the foundation for what historians call a river valley civilization. When people gathered near a reliable water source, they weren't just surviving. They were laying the groundwork for society, for culture, for everything we know as civilization. It all started with the flow of water. Now let's zoom in on one river in particular, the most special of them all, the Nile, located in northeast Africa. The Nile isn't just any river. It's the longest river in the world. The ancient Greeks had a perfect name for it, the gift of the Nile, and they weren't exaggerating. What made the Nile so unique was its predictability. Every single year, like clockwork, the Nile would flood its banks. Now, a flood might sound like a disaster, but for the Egyptians, it was a blessing. When the floodwaters receded, they left behind a thick layer of rich, black, fertile soil called silt. This silt was a natural fertilizer, making the land incredibly easy to farm. Unlike other rivers in the world that could flood violently and unpredictably, destroying crops and homes, the Nile was consistent and gentle. Its rhythm wasn't chaotic. It was the reliable heartbeat of an entire civilization. This predictability allowed the Egyptians to plan, to build, and to thrive in ways others could only dream of. So who were the people who called this incredible river valley home? They were the ancient Egyptians. For thousands of years, they lived in settlements all along the banks of the Nile, from small farming villages to bustling towns and eventually massive cities like Memphis and Thebes. Their society was incredibly organized, and they visualized it as a pyramid, which is fitting, don't you think? At the very top, with absolute power, was the pharaoh. Just below the pharaoh were the priests and nobles, the educated and wealthy elite who helped run the country. Next came the scribes, who were the professional writers and record keepers, and the soldiers who protected the kingdom. Finally, forming the massive base of this social pyramid were the farmers and laborers. These were the people who worked the land, built the monuments, and formed the backbone of the entire Egyptian economy. Every person had a place, and every role was essential to keeping the kingdom running smoothly. This brings us to their farming and food system, which was nothing short of genius. The annual flood wasn't just a gift. It was a massive agricultural upgrade. The Egyptians didn't just sit back and wait for the silt. They actively managed the water. They invented and perfected irrigation canals to channel the Nile's water to fields further away from the river, maximizing their crop yield. They developed farming calendars based on the river's cycles to know exactly when to plant and when to harvest. Their main crops were wheat and barley, which they used to make bread and beer, the staples of their diet, as well as flax, which they used to make linen for clothing. They became so good at producing food that they had huge surpluses. This required another innovation: massive granaries for food storage. Having more food meant the population could grow, and as the population grew, so did the civilization, leading to a boom in art, architecture, and technology. At the top of this booming civilization was the pharaoh. The pharaoh wasn't just a king. He was considered a living god, a CEO, and the ultimate commander-in-chief, all rolled into one. The ancient Egyptians believed that the pharaoh was chosen by the gods to rule and act as a mediator between the divine world and the human world. It was thought that the pharaoh's power was so great that he controlled nature itself, the rising of the sun, and of course the flooding of the Nile. The government was completely centralized. Around the pharaoh, all laws, all taxes, and all major public works projects, like building temples and pyramids, were ordered and overseen by the pharaoh and his administration. This highly organized, powerful, and divine-backed government was the key to Egypt's long-lasting stability and its ability to create some of the most impressive structures in human history. And speaking of impressive, let's talk about the incredible inventions and achievements that came out of ancient Egypt. It's almost like the entire civilization decided, let's be legendary, and they delivered. First, they invented one of the world's first writing systems, hieroglyphics. This beautiful picture-based script allowed them to record their history, religion, and daily life. They were masters of mathematics, particularly geometry, which they needed to surveil and after the annual flood, and most famously, to design and build their pyramids with mind-boggling precision. The pyramids themselves are a testament to their engineering genius, feats that still leave us in awe today. But they didn't stop there. They made huge advancements in medicine, developing surgical instruments, setting broken bones, and creating a vast pharmacy of herbal remedies. They even created a 365-day calendar based on the stars, which is the ancestor of the calendar we use right now. Seriously, without the contributions of ancient Egypt, modern life would look very, very different. A huge part of their culture and what drove many of their achievements was their complex religion and their beliefs about the afterlife. The ancient Egyptians believed in a life after death that was a continuation of their time on earth, and they worshipped a whole pantheon of gods and goddesses like Ra the sun god Osiris, the god of the underworld, and Isis, the goddess of magic and motherhood. To ensure a successful journey to the afterlife, they believed the body had to be preserved. This led to the intricate process of mummification. Mummification was a sacred and scientific procedure designed to preserve the body for eternity so the soul could recognize it. That's also why their tombs, especially those of the pharaohs, were filled with everything they might need in the next life: food, furniture, jewelry, tools, and even pets. They weren't just being buried. They were packing for an eternal vacation. So with such a powerful and advanced civilization, what went wrong? Why did ancient Egypt eventually decline? Like all great empires, it faced a series of challenges that slowly eroded its power. Over centuries, Egypt suffered from a string of invasions by foreign powers, including the Persians, Assyrians, and later the Greeks and Romans. Internally, a series of weak rulers and political infighting weakened the central government's control. Eventually, Egypt fell under foreign control and was incorporated into other empires. But here's the amazing thing: even after the kingdom of the pharaohs fell, its culture never truly died. Its ideas, its art, and its knowledge were absorbed by its conquerors and spread throughout the ancient world, ensuring its legacy would live on forever. And that brings us to why the Nile civilization still matters so much today. The influence of ancient Egypt is all around us. The very concept of writing, the architectural principles we use to build monumental structures, the mathematical formulas we learn in school, and even early medical practices all have roots that trace back to the banks of the Nile. Ancient Egypt wasn't just some lost world of sand and stone. It was a foundational pillar of human civilization. Its people were pioneers who pushed the boundaries of what was possible, and in doing so, shaped the course of history. So next time you see a pyramid, whether in a picture or in person, remember the incredible story behind it. Remember that it wasn't just built by human hands. The Nile built an empire. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey back in time, don't forget to like and subscribe for more adventures into history.